Hi, and welcome to Paper Root Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm playing along with Ginger over on Ginger's Corner and some of her friends in a YouTube hop called All About That Base, where we start out with our base pages. Okay, so this double page layout was in my base page box because it was from a close to my heart scrapbooking workshop kit that I had taken with me to a crop because I didn't have anything ready to go and by the day that the crop arrived, which happens to me more often than I'd like to admit. But these close to my heart scrapbook workshop kits are going to be something I sadly miss now that they're closed, because they were definitely my go-to for stuff like that, for when I wanted to go scrapbook with my friends but I just didn't have time to like print photos or plan something. I would just grab a kit and then I would be able to chit chat and visit while all of the instructions were in front of me. It was super easy. So I am going to miss that about that particular company. So here is one of those, and at the time I think I just tossed them in a box. I wasn't really sure what to do with them. I think I have another one actually lined up for this series because they are really pretty. Hey, like this one's really pretty. But I just threw it in the box because I wasn't in a place where I could do that at the time. And so here we are. And I feel like this page is not going to take long. I'm just going to put the photos and the journaling and a few little details on there and we should be good to go. I think part of the issue here too is that I don't typically take pictures of us cooking or, that sort of thing very often, and that's the vibe it was giving me. But then I remembered I had these photos from going to Green Gables. Now, if you're not from Canada, maybe you don't know this story, but Anne of Green Gables is a much loved young adult or child even novel. This one was a series that went on for several books. I think there were 7. Anyway, when my husband and I were in Prince Edward Island for the first time, we visited the Maritimes in 2022. We lived in Canada all our lives and never been that far east. And we went to visit Prince Edward Island and we spent a whole day visiting all the things. Lucy Maud Montgomery, she's quite a famous author here in Canada. So this is us in front of the house that inspired the setting for that novel, and I really was like, it was like a childhood dream. It was like going to Disneyland. It was one of those things where it's like straight out of my imagination, it was so fun. So I was like, this is perfect for that, because you want to talk about a story that talks about kitchen life and cooking and, pioneer, kind of like post-pioneer life. So they weren't pioneers, but they would have been like direct descendants of the pioneers, kind of a thing. So yeah, it was beautifully written, beautiful stories. Speak to the little girl's imagination. There we go. Okay, so there is my husband and I in front of the house. There I am in front of the house because he was like, yeah, I know the story because, he grew up in Canada, but it didn't mean the same thing to him as it did to me. There's also movies about it. I used to watch the movies every Christmas with my mom. So anyway, so then I went through our little box of goodies here, and this is just a scrap of white cardstock. That's weird. And I picked a few things that I thought could go on this layout, and one of them was this little ticket that says to and from, but I thought I could just cover up the to and from and put our names on there, and then I could stamp the date also. So I preset my date stamp. I'm going to stamp that on there, and then we're going to figure out how to get that on here without showing that to and from and just having those 2 lines showing. So I just ran that through my printer and then stamped the date on there. And I like the look of those 2 different fonts. That's actually really cool. I'm just going to grab some Black Soot Distress ink. I think that's what I mostly used on this layout. It looks like I used some color as well, but nothing too crazy. Can you hear my printer talking? I don't know why it does that, but it feels like every time I turn on the recording, it talks to me. And maybe it does it other times too, but I don't notice it because I'm not trying to, make a movie or make a YouTube video. Okay. You know what? Actually, from is still showing, but it actually makes sense. Mark and Nadine from August 26, 2021. That tracks. Okay. And then I typed up my journaling, which just basically says that seeing the house, and we got to tour through it too. It's a little museum. Was a big reminder of my childhood. And you know what interested me when I was out there is that, oh my gosh, there's a massive Japanese following. So like these tour buses would stop at these little tiny places that I'm going to in Prince Edward Island, and a massive amount of people would get off, and I'm like, I thought this was a Canadian novel. Like, I didn't realize it was so world famous, but apparently they study it somewhere over there in Asia. And so the girls there really fall in love with it too. And I didn't know that. So I thought that was really interesting too. So, but I could see why. It was a pretty great story. So I just typed up my journaling, and it should fit right here if I measured correctly. Made my text box fit. I think so. There we go. Now, a couple of things. So this was created as like, you can use it as a 1-page or a 2-page. That's why it has like the subtitle over here. But I had enough photos to fit across, so I want it to be a 2-page. So there's a couple of things I feel like I need to do to like tie the two sides together, and one of them is that I drew this black border around here. So I'm going to do something similar on here, and I am actually going to turn my paper so that it's closer to my body, just because my vision's not what it used to be, and I don't want to make a big mess of it. So this little grid ruler I just buy at Michael's, and it has like, what would this be? This is half, this is quarter, so it has 1/8 of an inch grid on it, and I love it. It helps me do all sorts of little measury things, like lining up that line all the way across makes my line straight, right? So I love that. And then I'm just gonna like end with these two little lines here. And I think that just gives that same vibe as what we have down there, over there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing across the bottom. Only it might be, no, it'll be okay. I was gonna say it might be weird because there's like stuff here, but I think it'll be okay. I think we can work around it. It'd be different if it was that wood veneer piece, because that's like glued down with white glue, which was kind of silly of me, but you know, live and learn. Sometimes when I do these too at the crop, I don't really think about those kinds of things. Like, I just follow the instructions and roll with it. Oh, now I did it. Oh well. It's okay. And over here. And it just gives that little bit of a tie-in. The other thing that I wanted to do was that there's wood veneer pieces on this side, but there's not on this side. So I think I'm going to add a few just over here. So I'm thinking like I grabbed these little, I have this little box that's like just mini ones, because they kept falling to the bottom of everything. So I pulled them out. It was an idea I saw Janet Madison do on RTS Scrapbooking. And I was like, that's a great idea. I always lose those little ones. So I put them in a separate box. And so I picked out a few that I thought, they're not exactly the same as these ones, but they kind of match enough to make it worthwhile. So I was thinking I could put one here, maybe one over here, and maybe one here. So that's good. And then I went through, when I went through this little goodie box and I found this thing, I also grabbed a few things that could match, but I don't know if I'll get them on this page. We'll see. So one of the things was this puffy sticker, this green one. It like matches perfectly with the green on here. And I feel like I can just like tuck it in here. And I feel like it goes with household because we have to budget for our households, right? And also in the story, the little girl goes from being like a total orphan. She thinks this is like cream of the crop. Like she's hit the jackpot moving into this house where she's, you know, got a safe place to sleep and all of that. The other things I pulled out was everything this color because it totally matches with the vibe of what's happening here. And although I don't know about this, although could I just, no, because that's already glued down. I was going to say I could maybe put that, like cut it down and put it across the top, but I don't think that's going to work out for this one. And then I did think that maybe this could go on because it matches that like cooking vibe. So I thought either here, maybe something like that, or I could put it in this little spot because I, for whatever reason, don't like this square of paper. It was meant to be cut up into these 2x2s, but this one has like that white streak across it, and it doesn't, I don't know, doesn't jive with me, so I thought maybe I could cover it up. And I feel like that actually matches pretty nice. And then there's this coffee one that I thought maybe could go with these mixing bowls. What do you think? And that brings that turquoise color kind of around. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I'm just gonna ink those up, get those on there. And then this one. Okay, and I think we got photos, journaling, date, title, embellishing. It's all good to go. So that is it for today. I will put some detail shots at the end of this video for you to have a quick peek at. And other than that, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. If you're here from the playlist, thank you for staying and watching. I appreciate you. And if you're a follower, I would highly encourage you to go check out the other ladies there. So if you would like to leave a question or comment down below, I'll be happy to get back to you just as soon as I can. And I hope you all have a great day. Bye for now.